3, 2, 1, go. Yep.
Right. Hello. It's I never know how to introduce myself, but it's Sam. For those who don't know me, I'm the founder of Youth Unlocked. This video is happening right after Liv's exhibition, the final exhibition for the second cohort. But now that we've done this cohort and it's been 4 exhibitions later, I feel like this is the perfect time to sit down and reflect on everything that has happened and everything that we've learned. I've written down 4 talking points, and I'm going to try not to talk too long. But I feel like it's very important for the people who haven't worked with us, who aren't, I don't know, close friends and family, to understand what this is, what we're doing, and that they hopefully can be part of it in the future. So yeah, these are it was meant to be 5 things, but I only have 4 things. But these are the 4 things I've learned since starting Youth Unlocked. The first thing it says on here is building something conceptual. I think that's one of the most important parts of all of this that people need to remember, is that what we're doing is very conceptual. Not even the way we communicate it and the way we go about it. Nothing about it is commercial in any way. We try to do it very authentic. We try to meet people, talk to people. Even the way we interact with people online is super important to me. And what I've learned through that is it's extremely hard, because conceptual never or usually doesn't win against commercial. And so I knew that going into it. But I think with Youth Unlocked, we have such a strong USB in terms of what we are doing and what it can mean and do for people, that I anticipate it to grow and become bigger and reach more people. Because that's essentially what it is about, is that everything we've been doing up to this point has only been for a group of people, and we hope to expand in the future. But I'm looking at that journey, I'm looking ahead in terms not only months, but years, and it's going to be extremely difficult. And it's already been extremely difficult, because all the people that we've met so far have been or are in the artistic or creative world. And there is a commercial consumer that I want to reach, because I know once I reach that will extremely accelerate the growth of all of this. But having now done 4 exhibitions, having now been really pushing the content, building a very strong brand identity, I've come to realize that it is much harder. And what that is down to varies every single time, whether that is the marketing, whether that is the artists that we're working with. Nonetheless, that is something I've learned, and that I will always keep on thinking about, is how hard it is to build something as conceptual as Youth Unlocked. The second thing that I've learned since starting Youth Unlocked is how hard it is to actually put it all together. We came up with a system that works, and that is very complex, especially for the people that have worked with us. They understand, and they see the Excel sheets, and they see the Google Drive, and they see all the documents. And they are part of the system in terms of, that 3 to 4 month period where we work with them. But it is actually still now, after having done the second cohort, extremely hard, as we are now in a phase where we are preparing for the next cohort in September to November. And I'm coming to realize that when especially you are working with a limited amount of people, that becomes even harder. And more importantly over that, trusting those people to do that job. I've been fortunate to work with, the man behind the camera, the man I'm looking at over there, pretty solid guys and solid dudes that I can trust. But that is always something I'm wary about when working with people, because for me it's very important, what are they in for at the end of the day. We've had many people talk to us about freelancing and working. But I realize, and it's a rule for me, if that person approaches us or we approach them And one of the first conversations we have is about the financial gain they get from it, or it is not us bringing it up throughout the conversation. It is a red flag to me because I immediately know that they're not in it for the right reasons. And that is very important to me because essentially that's why we do it. The collaboration part, the providing these creators with that opportunity is all about the belief in the greater good and what art and music and fashion and film represent to us as a greater society. And so looking forward, again, as I said before, it's gonna just get harder because the growth that I'm anticipating it will have will at some point outweigh the labor force and the work team that we will have at that certain point. And that, to be completely honest, is a bit scary, and we are working and thinking about how we can anticipate that and work around it in the best way possible. But sometimes, for people who don't engage with us on a day-to-day basis, and especially who don't work with us and see the internal stuff, I wish they would know how hard it is to do this. And I'm specifically talking about venue outreach. That is probably the hardest stage out of all of them. Finding press, finding sponsors, finding the right team to work with, putting together a system that will accommodate everybody. And that has been, alongside my first point, the most challenging out of everything. Because obviously it's such a conceptual idea, but two, we just started. We don't know how it's gonna go. We're now going into a new medium in September, which I don't wanna say just yet. And so that's why we're trying something new again, because we have to change that system because it's not the same medium, it doesn't work like art. So that is another thing I've learned and that I anticipated, but you can never be ready for the workload at the end of the day. The third thing I've learned since starting Youth Unlocked is very much how hard it is to focus on that specific medium. We come from a very event-based background. We know how to put together an event, we know how to get the people, the crowd in and market us in a way that seems appealing for other people. But now, I'm in this exhibition and everything is taken down. But then it becomes about more in terms of, if we're talking about the exhibition, the curation part of it, having a press sheet, having a catalog, having the details of the art next to it, allowing buyers to come in and approach the artist, and all these different phases and stages that in the first cohort, to be completely honest, we weren't ready for, and we didn't approach it in the right way, and unfortunately those artists that we worked with didn't benefit from that, and that is something that we've changed, but I come to realize that we can even do better. And I'm not saying that everything can be done better, but that is something that I'm also anticipating for the other mediums that will be extremely hard, of understanding how that works, whether that is in fashion, in film, in music, in photography, and everything else around it. So that is something that we've definitely learned that was actually a feedback from people to us. So yeah, that's the third thing I've learned. And the fourth thing I've learned, which is getting better, and I hope it gets better as we move forward and as we connect with more people, is how difficult it is to find the right people to work with. Now, with youth, everyone who's been involved has been amazing, from head to toe, from what we asked them, and the fact that they've always delivered. But I do, as I said before, approach it from a way of what are their intentions. And right now we're working with people who have the right intentions and have made it clear to me. But in the past, we've also worked with people who haven't had the right intentions, who are in it for the money, who are imposters, who you will do a favor for and they won't pay that favor back. And so that is, and then, and I'm only talking about the freelance team. I'm not even talking about the venue, the press, and all those people that are involved, the third parties essentially. And that is something extremely hard to cope with, because at the end of the day, the team gets bigger, and as we're diversifying and going into new things, it will be extremely hard to manage that team, especially if people are in it for the wrong intentions. And that is probably the last thing I want to get mixed up. And I want to find people who are on the same page, who are dedicated to the work and who do it for the right reasons. So yeah, looking back at these last 4 months since we, well, 4 months since we launched, it's been very, what's the right word? Emotional in a positive way, which for me is a very unfamiliar feeling because I'm someone who likes things in order, someone with certainty, and I am very positive about this, and I see this growing, and the people who have worked with us see the potential that this has. It's just about taking it day by day, and sometimes that can be extremely scary. And that's something that I want people to know when they interact with us, when they engage with us online, when they come to these exhibitions, is that because it's such an idealistic and conceptual initiative, it can be very daunting. And we make sure that we put all the effort into it every single day, whether that is communicating, whether that is sending emails, whether that is shooting marketing, doing the venue visits, doing the long hours, which we're doing right now. The exhibition finished an hour ago and we're still here clearing up, recording this, but that is what it takes. And that goes back to sort of my first 2 points and almost summarizes everything, is that this will take a lot, which you can never be prepared for at the end of the day. And yeah, with that, I want to wrap it up. I want to thank, as we are going into the summer break, when you're watching this, we'll probably be somewhere in mid-July. We'll be on holiday, preparing for the third cohort, which will run from September to November. But if you're watching this, just know, especially if you're a creative, just know that this is for you. At the end of the day, our mission, which is made clear to whoever gets involved, is that we do it for the creative and we do it for the benefit of them and them alone. So yeah, I hope this helps the people understand the journey we've been on so far, that it's been highs, as just now as we finish this exhibition, but also lows of, wow, we're really stressing to find the venue. We're really stressing to find a sponsor. We have 2 days till this deadline. We have 3 days to this deadline. And it is a lot of pressure as many people rely on us and look to us. But yeah, I hope this helps people understand. And yeah, we look forward to all the new faces that we'll hopefully meet and all the new people we hopefully get to interact with and work with going into the future. But for now, happy summer holiday. My team, Youth Unlocked, we will all be on holiday, and we will see you sometime on the first week of September. Let's go. Nice. Bang.